Bonjour class! Today we're starting lesson 3. So in your notes this should be unit 1, lesson 3 or 1.3 as you'll see on all of your assignments. Let's get started. First things first, something easy. Avoir. This is a verb you know. I have asked you to practice it so that you know how to conjugate it. You know it from French 1. And it means to have. Avoir, to have. Conjugated like this. J'ai, tu as, il, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils, elles ont. Just means to have. I have, you have, he or she has, etc. Now, you need to be very sure that you can conjugate avoir consistently, because everything else I'm about to show you in this video requires that you are able to conjugate avoir. And they are quelques expressions avec avoir. There's a mistake here in this title. This should have an S. Quelques expressions with an S, avec avoir. So you know a number of phrases already in French that use avoir as the verb, and then you add things onto it to make it mean like a phrase. For instance, you know if I ask you quel âge as-tu, that I'm asking how old you are. So you can see we use avoir here. What age do you have? And then the answer to this question would be j'ai 16 ans. I am 16. I have 16 years. Or you can see here, ma mère a 39 ans. My mother is 39. So in French, we use avoir to talk about how old someone is, to talk about age. In English, you can see we use the verb to be. How old are you? My mother is. That's to be. But in French, we use avoir. Okay? And there are lots more expressions with avoir. Once again, this should have an S. Quelques expressions avec avoir. So first one, you know, avoir faim. Avoir faim, as in j'ai faim. I'm hungry. Okay? So when you see these phrases written out with avoir at the beginning, remember you have to conjugate them when you put them in a sentence. So you can see here, tu as faim, are you hungry? And avoir is conjugated for tu, which is the subject of the sentence. Are you hungry? And then to go with that, we've also got avoir soif. Avoir soif, which means to be thirsty. To be thirsty. Then, I think you also know this from French 1, avoir chaud. Avoir chaud, which means to be hot. And avoir froid. Avoir froid, which means to be cold. So you can see, nous avons froid, we are cold. Then we've got avoir raison. Avoir raison. This means to be right. To be right, as in to be correct. Kind of looks like the word reason, right? To have reason. And then avoir tort. Avoir tort means to be wrong. To the opposite. To be wrong. And then les élèves ont tort. The students are wrong, or the students have wrongness is literally like what each word means, but the students are wrong. Then we've got avoir peur. Avoir peur. This means to be afraid. To be afraid. And then our sentence, je n'ai pas peur. I'm not afraid. Avoir sommeil. Avoir sommeil means to be sleepy. You can see, mon frère a sommeil. My brother is sleepy. And avoir de la chance. Avoir de la chance means to be lucky. To be lucky. Vous avez de la chance. Y'all are lucky. And so you probably noticed when I translated each of these, in English, the verb we use for all of these so far is to be. So avoir faim, we say I am hungry. Avoir chaud, I am hot. But in French, all of these phrases are avoir. And then our last one here, avoir l'air. Avoir l'air. And then plus an adjective. So this means to seem. So if our adjective is nice, avoir l'air sympathique, like to seem nice, okay? Or here, Marc a l'air fatigué. Mark seems tired. And this adjective, the adjective that used in these sentences, can either agree with l'air, which is masculine, or it can agree with the subject. So here, Marc and l'air are both masculine and singular, so it wouldn't change anything. But if this sentence was about Nathalie, Nathalie a l'air fatiguée, you could either leave fatigué like this to agree with l'air, or you can add an E to agree with Natalie. That's that. A few more. Quelques expressions avec avoir. Once again, I'm missing an S. So these are our last five. So first one here, avoir besoin de plus a noun or infinitive. Avoir besoin de means to need. To need. For example, j'ai besoin d'argent. I need money. I need money. Or, nous avons besoin de travailler. We need to work. Okay? So you can see here, this one is avoir besoin de plus a noun, argent. And this one is avoir besoin de plus an infinitive, travailler. So remember, in a sentence that ends like this with an infinitive, this is to work, right? So we need to work. And then just like we've been doing, avoir is conjugated. Don't ever forget to do that. Then we've got avoir envie de plus a noun or infinitive. Avoir envie de blank. Whereas this means to need, avoir envie de means to want. To want. Plus noun or infinitive. For instance, Alice a envie d'une glace. Alice a envie du glace, or d'une glace. And qu'est-ce que tu as envie de manger? Qu'est-ce que tu as envie de manger? So, Alice wants an ice cream. What do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? So, avoir besoin de is to need. Avoir envie de is to want. Kind of looks like the word envy, right? To want something, to be envious. It's a connection there. And then last of these, avoir l'intention de plus an infinitive. Avoir l'intention de plus an infinitive. This means exactly what it looks like, to have the intention of, or to intend to, right? To intend. For instance, Léa a l'intention de voyager. Léa intends to travel. Okay, or she has the intention of traveling. She means to. She has the intention. And then the last two, these are just two kind of complete phrases that are really common in French. You need to know these for the listening portion of the quiz 1.3. So when you write these down, I want you to go ahead and put a star next to them. They're in your Quizlet, but I don't want you to forget that you need to know what these mean. So for instance, we've got qu'est-ce que tu as? Qu'est-ce que tu as? This means, what's wrong? What's wrong? You would say this if you saw someone who looked, I don't know, like something was wrong. You could say this. Qu'est-ce que tu as? What do you have? Qu'est-ce que tu as? And then, qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? This one means like, what happened? Or what's wrong? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? What's the matter? And you can see here the avoir in this one appears at the end of the sentence, just like it does here. But this phrase, il y a, you probably remember from French 1, and it means there is or there are. So what is it that there is? What is it that there is what this means, like word for word. All right, that is it for these notes. I am going to sign off now and let you work on the practice for this section, expressions with avoir. As always, email me if you have any questions. That's it. Au revoir.